Hi Fiona.
Hello.
Welcome to the Half Mermaid podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Very welcome. So pleased to have you and so excited to talk about your work, which is just so deeply connected to the things that we both love.
Yes.
We are here at the Frankston Arts Centre where your photographic exhibition is displaying these wonderful pictures of swimmers. Take us back to where this whole idea started.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the whole idea of Immerse started really in COVID. By the second lockdown here in Melbourne, we had those really strict lockdown restrictions. And because I was so used to traveling with my photography and writing work in the years before COVID, by the second lockdown, I was really feeling it. And so one evening I decided I needed to do something for my own mental health and joy. And I decided to go down to the water the next morning with my camera gear just to take some photos of the sunrise and for the pure joy of it. So I did that the next day, and whilst I was walking out on the pier, I noticed a group of swimmers going out to this 5-knot marker pole. I thought they were crazy, of course, because I was all rugged up in my gear. And when they were at the pole and I was at the end of the pier, a pod of dolphins swam by, which was just amazing. And so I was filming that, and then when I came back to shore, I started a conversation with one of the swimmers, Karen, and shared that video, and that basically started the conversation and the invitation to join them. Mm-hmm. So the next day, the 4th of June, was my first swim, dip, touch in the water, because at that stage it was winter. And I haven't really looked back. So that for me was the start of this new water practice where, particularly during COVID, I suppose, it was a wonderful way to get out of bed, to meet others, but also to have that injection of the cold water and that zing. And I just started to experience that mental clarity. I started feeling better in myself. And then, as the months progress and then the years progress, we started, becoming friends and hearing the stories of people, what drew us to the water. And I started taking photographs, and they were coming out really beautifully. And so by 2023, I thought I would really love to create a body of work. Initially, I was thinking an exhibition, but funnily enough, the book, Immerse, came first, which was a great practice in going through thousands of photographs that I had photographed. So Immerse came out in the summer of 2023. So it's now only about 7 months old. But then from that, I was able to, with the Frankston Arts Centre and the Frankston City Council, organise this exhibition so I could take the best shots. I mean, they're all my favourite shots in one way or another in the book, but in terms of the space that we had here. So yeah, it was an opportunity to really enlarge the prints and to select those that really showed the diversity of the different colours of the water, the different times of day, well, actually morning, because I tend to follow the sunrise.
Yes.
Yeah, I tend to love to be in the water as that sun is rising, and then just to witness the change in colour from dawn through to then the sun rising and then afterwards. So Immerse, the exhibition, it's been here. It was part of the Southside Festival. It's been on display now for about 6 weeks, and it's really been a beautiful opportunity to share our beauty of the open waters, to share the stories of the swimmers. Though it's based in Seaford, our swimmers come from all over, and so that's been a really wonderful opportunity.
And the Seaford community is a reflection of just so many all over Victoria, let alone around the world. And there's something to be said, I'm touching on what you said about COVID and how, despite how horrible it was, how it caused, it caused us to pause and look for things that are really so close to us, always available to us.
Yes.
For some kind of, for us to reach back to some kind of sense of sanity and enjoyment of life.
Yes.
I can relate to the COVID bit too. It was during COVID and lockdowns where I yearned for a place like Seaford. I couldn't get to it. So for me, it was when lockdowns are over, that's it, I'm going down. hence how we met.
Yes, that's right.
So for all we say about COVID, it had some upside.
Yes. And I think I've done a lot of author talks now around Melbourne and around coastal areas of Victoria. Certainly anecdotally, we have many people who started open water swimming during that COVID period, particularly because of those lockdowns. You know, we could only go within 5 kilometres. So anyone within 5 kilometres of the water, I think that was a real respite for us and an opportunity to really appreciate it. And I can admit, before COVID, I did not appreciate the bay. You know, I've travelled a lot. I love, you know, being in the Mediterranean. I love being overseas. And I think I definitely took the bay for granted. So being exposed to the bay through the swimming and obviously through lockdown, and now having this regular practice of being in the water, it is just stunning. We have a beautiful bay. I mean, but you know, obviously we have some days where it's dirty and whatever. I mean, that's fine. But I think particularly in Seaford, we're really lucky. It's just a gorgeous part. And sometimes it's like you're in the Mediterranean. It's those aqua blues and greens. And then like this morning, it's silvery blues. And then you've got the pinks and the mauves.
And just other days it's wild and you can just be tumbling around and having so much fun.
Yes, that's the workout. Yes. My preference though is the smooth, silky times, but I'll take it.
Where you can get into such a glow and such a peaceful, just state of flow. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's been since COVID that your practice with water has been regular.
Yes. So it's actually been 3 years on the 4th of June.
We are also, though, here, we had a bit of a walk earlier and I saw some of the most wonderful depictions of the bay we were just talking about and of Seaford swimmers. We happened to be sitting, though, in front of a pretty special one.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about this one.
So this is the first photo that I really loved and wanted to have big on my wall. And, you know, when I'm working as a photographer and writer in my daily work, I'm using a big Nikon kit, I've got, you know, all the gear. But this was the first time I've been using a GoPro and photographing in the water. So when I was seeing the photos and people were starting to inquire about wall art, this was the first one that I thought, oh, I would love to see this big on my wall. And it was the first photo that I used as my experiment. So I had a pro lab in South Melbourne. We experimented on different papers and we were experimenting to see how big we could go because I hadn't used a GoPro before. I was interested to see, you know, what the quality of the image would be. So this is called Swimmer in Inky Purple Waters. That's the colour. So that's dawn, before the sun has come up. I don't think Bron would mind me saying that it's Bron. She's in a lot of my photos. But I just love that sense of going out. I love the ripples. I love that you can see the sunlight just starting to hit the marker poles and then the hint of the pier. But just, you know, I suppose that's how we are often when we're getting in the water and we just set off.
Yes.
And there's that particular feeling when, I suppose, particularly when it's cold, when it's like, but I love that. I love the depth of it. I love the colours. I love the contrast of the fluoro orange to the purple. So I have this print big on my hallway wall. And it's just a beautiful reminder every time I go past it, that invitation to just dive in.
Go out.
Yeah, and just the beauty of it. So that's on my signature panel in my email. It's been on my business card. It was actually my first pick for the front cover of my book Immerse, but thankfully my curator who was helping me with the selection of photos chose the current front cover because it was a little bit dark and sexy and different. And but I've always loved this. And then, you know, just recently at the Chelsea Art Show, it received a highly commended award, second to the first prize.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Yeah, but I just love it. I just love the sense of the depth of the water, the colours and that movement of going out. And I can almost feel in Bronwyn's, that anticipation of looking out. No doubt we're looking for dolphins.
Always
looking for dolphins on the horizon.
Always hoping.
Always hoping for dolphins.
They can never come too often.
They are the best. I feel like obviously that first morning, when I went down to the pier and we saw that pod of dolphins and then the swimmers in the water, you know, something just came so alive in me. And I feel that every time we see dolphins, when we talk about dolphins, I might not be there and the swimmers are talking about it, but I just feel such joy. And I think that there is something deep in us that connects with the water and life in the water and the beauty that, yeah, it's indescribable, but it's very innate.
It's infectious to other parts of our life
Yeah.
in some ways.
The joy certainly carries throughout the day. That's
Absolutely.
for sure. You can't wipe the smiles off our face.
Agree completely.
Yeah.
One thing for me that I've loved about your photos is how you depict, or how you're able to capture the texture of the water, which brings me to the whole theme of how well your photos capture place and time, how beautiful this place for many people is, and how special it is along with their practice.
Yes.
How long will this exhibition be here for?
So the exhibition ends on the 22nd of June. It started really on the 15th of April, so it's been here for quite some time. But I'm going to be looking for some more walls. Yes. I think now that I have a big body of work that is framed beautifully, it would be good to keep them rotating and moving. So I'm now keeping an eye out always for blank walls, or even for spaces that might have room for one or two, particularly of these really big ones. Because often the feedback has been that, they feel like they're in the water, or they just love the colours as well, and they feel like they want to jump in. And I think that's beautiful. If the photos are speaking to the people where they're like, oh, I just want to jump in, or oh, it's reminding me of when I used to swim, and then that inspires them to get back in the water. I think that's wonderful.
It is absolutely special.
Yeah, because we want to share it. I mean, we know how beautiful it's been for us and the community of swimmers that we have, and just how much joy it brings. So, if others can be part of that and experience that as well, then...
I'd love for people to be able to feel what it's like.
Yeah.
Just like you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
You touched on earlier too that your work is taking you many places.
Yes.
And one place I'd like to kind of go back and stop at is Ireland.
Yes.
Tell us a bit more about that adventure.
Okay, so even though I am of Sicilian, Italian origins, my family, my mum and dad are from there, I am sure I have Irish in me because I have long had a fascination. I've long had a fascination with the Celtic faith tradition and storytelling and poetry and folklore and the poets of Western Ireland. I'm a big fan of John O'Donoghue, who was a philosopher, former priest, theologian, author, poet. And then similarly, David Whyte. His father was from the north of England, his mum was Irish. So, I've been following those people, for many years. And I think I had always wanted to do one of David Whyte's walking poetry tours. And I suppose when COVID hit and we had those 2 years of no travel, it became quite evident how important travel and exploring is. And the opportunity came in 2022 to attend one of his poetry walking tours. It was actually, I had applied, you have to apply, and I had missed out. And then on St. Patrick's Day, that year, I got an email saying, we've had a cancellation, would you like to come? You need to let us know in 24 hours. I have a jig. I did a jig. I was so excited. And so I went.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. And so I think for me, Irish tradition, the songs, their poetry, their storytelling really resonated with me. Being there in Ireland post-COVID, it was my first big trip. Just that opportunity to integrate poetry, storytelling, connecting with people from all over the world. We were a very eclectic group. And then, of course, we had the bay. We were situated on Galway Bay. We were in a little town called Ballyvaughan. And, finding people to swim with there, that was wonderful. Again, a reminder that this practice is something that people are doing all over the world. And so starting our mornings in Galway Bay, that was fun. But then, you know, meeting then in a beautiful little, like just a little cottage. And then David would start the morning with some of his own words, poetry, stories. Then we'd all share, and, you know, then we'd have lunch, and then we'd walk. And we'd walk in the places that maybe were important to David Whyte or to John O'Donoghue. But there's such a deep connection to land in Ireland. There's such a deep connection to the water, and I really felt that there, and it really cemented for me the importance of the land and landscape, and how the land has stories and the land can form us just as the water can form us. So I really loved that opportunity. I loved the opportunity to be amongst like-minded people, both in terms of riding, and then the swimmers that we had our little community that swam. And yeah, just that sense of place. I mean, you know, I'm, as much as I say I'd love to be Irish, I'm not Irish, so I'm not an expert, but my experience of that place was really one where they're rooted in the land. You know, we met locals who would take us on tours, and they could really speak to the ancestors, to the spirits, to the rock formations, you know, to those who came before them, to care for the land. So I just really felt that strong connection in Ireland. But then, you know, I could bring that back here. You know, I think being a swimmer has really allowed me to be more sensitive to the change in the tides, to the change in the weather, to which way the wind's going, to walk more gently, to care more for the earth, particularly for the water. So I'm really grateful for that, you know, to learn more about our First Nations people, you know, their connection to land, my connection to land, wherever we are in the world, just to really have that sense of reverence and care for the waters, for the earth that we walk upon.
Yeah, the place our feet call home.
Yeah.
And you've captured it beautifully, that sense of place and time in your work.
Yeah, thank you.
What was the Galway Bay like to swim in?
So Galway Bay, it was cold. Yeah, it was really cold.
Colder than our bay?
Yeah, we were there. I was there in May, early May. So I think that's the start of their spring. Yes. And
late spring, I think. Heading into June's their first
summer.
month.
Yeah, that's right. So late spring. And oh, look, you know, it's beautiful. It was still beautiful. I mean, we went off a big concrete jetty. So it's different to Seaford, where we walk on beautiful yellow sand and we walk in, whereas this was either walking down steps or jumping in. Yes. And I think I tended to opt for the walking down the steps, then diving in. But it was cold, but you know, it's cold now, so I don't know how to compare it. But you know, it was beautiful, different vista, I suppose. You're looking back toward Ballyvaughan and you see these beautiful cottages, you see some little green rolling hills, you see some boats because there was a little marina around the corner, you would see the pubs. So just a different view.
A different feel.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But still that sense of water connecting us, and swimming, and the laughter, and people who were doing it for the first time because they'd seen us do it and they're like, woo, we want to give it a go. So that was fun, being part of the joy of people jumping off the pier for the first time. It was fun.
Doesn't matter where you're on this planet, once you jump in the water, it seems to have a similar effect on all of us.
Yes, you have that frozen smile on your face, particularly in winter, and you can't remove it.
There's another place, though, that your travels have taken you that's also surrounded by water and steeped in a sense of place and time, which is Florence.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I love travelling to Italy. Obviously, I have that family connection. So after my time in Ireland doing the poetry walking tour, I also had an opportunity to travel to Florence in Italy to take part in a writing workshop. It's like I was packing everything I'd missed out in those 2 years of COVID into this big trip. And again, a really wonderful opportunity to be, this time actually with all women. Lisa Clifford is an Australian broadcaster, writer, author, and she lives in Florence. And again, women from all over the world. We were only a small group, 10 of us, but an opportunity to delve more deeply in how to write a book. So narration, plot, pace, different ways of presenting dialogue, narration. So I think apart from being lots of fun and getting up to lots of shenanigans with the ladies, it was a really great opportunity. I suppose it's possible that there I was starting to think about writing Immerse, because that was 2022 in May and June. So just that opportunity to think about stories and place and what connects us. And so that was wonderful. And then after that, I was able to go to Sicily for a short time, which is where my family's from, and the beautiful Mediterranean there. So it's for all of the expanse of the world, it's actually quite small. For those of us who are fortunate to travel and to be in these places, you just realise that we all share so much in common. So being amongst other writers and other creatives and seeing their beautiful work, being inspired, I just thought, I really feel inspired to now come back and create something beautiful with the photos, with the words, with the stories that were starting to emerge from the swimmers. And I suppose you get to know those things as you become friends with people. So once you become friends with people and you hear their stories, it's I wanted to really see if I could capture that.
Yeah, it's nice to focus on things that connect us versus all the things that
divide
us as humans.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Florence also sounds amazing, and also a place that's, I guess, fed your work.
Yes.
And where you are today. I was reading one of your articles on your blog post about your time in Port Fairy too.
Yes.
I was caught in some of your language. You talked about being disconnected and lulled by nature, and how your feet on the ground is how you feel connected. Tell us a little bit more about your practice there with water.
So I'm originally from country Victoria, inland, so not around water at all. But I think that sense of country life is quite deeply instilled in me. And so I have a dear friend who lives in Port Fairy. She lives outside of Port Fairy, and I have the wonderful opportunity sometimes to house sit when they go away on holidays, which I love. And on BJ's home farm, they've got alpacas, or are they llamas? Are they alpacas? Yeah, I think they're alpacas. I always get them mixed up. So there's the alpacas, they've got Gilbert the cat, they've got the chooks, and reception isn't fantastic, which is great. But I really do love the opportunity to disconnect, to get off the phone, to get off the computer. I think that's healthy for us. And I love being in the countryside. I loved the opportunity too of getting into a quiet practice where it's led from inside out, where you would get up, I would go for a swim down at the ocean, because that's different, to our bay again, finding the water, coming back. The chickens need to be released and fed, the alpacas need to be fed and watered, Gilbert the cat needs to just check he's still okay. And then in the heat of the day, when it was really hot, because I was there the last time in January, just using that time to be inside, to be quiet, maybe read, listen to a podcast, something inspiring, but just to really allow that quiet to sink in. So I do love that. I had a 30-day silent retreat in Malta many years ago. So I do really love to challenge myself and to find opportunities for silence and to go inside and to just hear what's going on there. So opportunities like Port Fairy, where I can house sit, just provide that time where I can connect in the land. I love having my shoes off. I love being in the soil. They've got a gorgeous big garden as well, so out there tending to the garden, watering all the trees. I love that, just that sense of slow rhythm. And I think it is important for us to get our hands dirty in the soil and our feet and the water. And Yeah, so that for me is quite a beautiful time to just tune in with nature and to get grounded. You know, when I swim out to the pole, I often put my feet on the pole, and I suppose that's my way of just, again, honouring, grounding myself, just connecting, and it's just a little practice that I've established just to go, I'm here, I honour you, I'm grounding myself.
A small pause in time.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, we know in today's world it's pretty crazy.
Yes.
And we're connected 24/7. So I do love opportunities to disconnect. I do love opportunities to just be in nature, whether it's in the water or in the bush or in the garden. I probably don't do it enough. Yeah.
I think we all could do with more of it.
Yeah.
In this digital, fast-paced world.
Yeah.
With lots of noise.
That's why I'm really grateful for the practice of the water. I mean, despite we still have the cameras, but you know, there's still that sense of quiet and wonder and awe, because when you're in that big body of water and you're just captured in the moment, like this morning, for instance, it was so beautiful. We just kept marveling at the light, just going, look at this.
Look at the clouds. Look at the sunrise. Yes.
Don't forget to look back in case there's dolphins.
I think that's what awakened in me. The water practice has awakened in me since that I hadn't felt in many years. That sense of awe and wonder, where you're so busy numbing your way through life and the to-do lists and the obligations, that you forget to stop and admire how the beauty's all around us. And that's what the water does every day.
Yeah, and I think too, I mean, look, the reality is our world is in turmoil and there is a lot going on. And so I think that opportunity in to have a practice where you can just calm down and remember beauty, the goodness, you know, we need that too. Like we need that where we are in our time and place. This is something that we can do, and you know, whether it's our prayers or whether it's, you know, the ways that we practically can help. I just think, there is something in that. Oh, gratitude. I think I'm really getting to gratitude. Yeah, just really having that opportunity to go, you know what, we're so lucky. This is so beautiful. I'm very conscious of where I am in this time and place and in this environment. So just to really express that gratitude. And I think that goes out. I really think that goes out into the world, into the metaverse, universe, and those prayers as well, just that, you know, sending out and presence.
And I'll say it again, your work does a wonderful way of bringing all that together, and we are so grateful to have you.
Thank you.
In our community, and that all your experiences have brought you to a place where you can offer this out to people.
Yeah, there's a big backstory there. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Time, I think, for some quick fire questions.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Let me make sure I can be quick. Okay. Swim or dip?
Dip in winter, swim in summer.
Wonderful. Summer or winter?
Can I say autumn? Because autumn is actually my favourite season, and that is when I feel like the water is at its best and crisp. So autumn.
Autumn, thank you. Your first memory of being in the water?
Surface paradise. You know, my family being Italian, for whatever reason, we all had units up in Surface Paradise. So yes, Surface Paradise, the big surf, and also the swimming pool there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yep.
It's a good first memory.
Yes.
And your favourite body of water in all your travels?
My favourite body of water in all of my travels.
Apologies for the unfair question.
Yeah, I haven't been to a lot of places. Look, the Mediterranean is pretty special. Those 6 weeks in Malta, every morning I would get up and go to a different part of the coast because I was right in the middle of Malta. And so those waters off the coast of Malta are pretty special. Yeah, St. Paul's Bay and Mediterranean. That's my favourite body. Though Seaford sometimes resembles the Mediterranean. So
yes, I would have to agree.
Yes.
All right. So what's next for you, Fiona?
Well, I have just finished a long series of author talks around Melbourne and coastal areas of Victoria, doing author talks for Immerse. But now I need to shift gears because I am off to Rwanda in Africa. I leave on the 13th of July. I've been invited to go over to document stories of people who survived the genocide. So it's the 30-year genocide of 30-year anniversary of the genocide. So that's a really big change. But funnily enough, that is actually a lot of the work that I used to do. I do enjoy the documentary work and the storytelling in those areas. So I need to start mentally preparing for that time. I've been talking to people who have lived in Rwanda for many years, worked in Rwanda, just talking with them about questions I might ask, questions I don't ask, the way I should be. And so, yeah, getting all the camera gear ready, getting all the audio gear ready, and just, preparing for that, making sure I've got, the visa, all the money, vaccinations. I've really got to start, yes, all that. So I think that will be an amazing experience. I wouldn't have taken myself to Rwanda but for this opportunity. And I'll also be there with a dear friend who used to work for World Vision, who has lived and worked in Rwanda. And she's our mutual friend. So our friend Chantal is a survivor of the Rwandan genocide. So I will go there and I will be open-hearted. I will just listen with an open mind and see what presents, and hopefully come back with a body of stories, a body of photographs that speak to the hope that people can experience despite the horrific circumstances of the genocide. And also, in Chantal's words, when she was inviting me, she wanted the opportunity to share stories of how they have rebuilt from the ashes. So that will be the focus, stories of hope and how people have rebuilt from the ashes. And I suppose I'll be escaping the winter here and heading to the warm hills of Rwanda. And I don't know that they've got any water there that I can swim in, but that's okay.
That's okay. You'll come back to us in good time, and when the waters have warmed up a little bit.
3rd of August. So I'm away for 3 weeks in Rwanda.
Maybe not.
I'll get back right in the peak of it. But so that'll be wonderful. And then obviously when I get back from Rwanda, I have more international travel planned. I'm hoping to get to the UK, and I'm going to swim around the UK. So not around it literally, but just visit places, and we'll see, because we've got a family trip coming up, and then more Immerse author talks starting again.
Of course. I cannot think of a more compassionate and curious and embracing person. The fact that you were invited to Rwanda, I think you'll do some wonderful work there, and we look forward to hearing the stories that you bring back.
Thank you.
Where can people find you and your work?
Okay, so definitely on my website, www.fionabasile.com, and that's Basile, Basile, because if you're of the Italian ilk, it's Basile, but because I grew up in country Victoria, it's Basile. So definitely on the website, but I'm very active on Instagram, and so my Instagram is at Fifi Lepiu, Fifilepiu, and that's an old nickname that my uncle gave me, which has just stuck.
So
sometimes I think about changing it, to be more professional, and but I think it's good to hold on to some of our roots and to remind us of the lightheartedness that we need in the world. So at Fifi Lepiu. I'm also on Facebook, Fiona Basile Photography, LinkedIn, X, you name it. But really the website is the home of the galleries, of the shop, to buy prints, of my blogs, to sign up for the newsletter, all those sorts of things. But it's really an opportunity, hopefully, to continue to share this work of the photography and the writing and those stories that connect us and help build understanding and compassion, as you said.
Wonderful. Where can people find your book?
People can find Immerse. Again, go to my website because I've got all the stockists. There are a lot of fantastic bookshops around Melbourne and around the coastal areas of Victoria, from Queenscliff to Barwon Heads to the Grumpy Swimmer in Elwood, Robinson's in all of their shops, Farrell's in Mornington, or you can just buy direct online from my website. So I'm very happy to sign. Here at the Frankston Arts Centre, you can get copies of Immerse, But the website is really the hub. From there you can find, you know, the information about Immerse or information about the travels or the photos. And yeah, so
we'll put links to all that in our show notes
Yeah.
so people can find you a bit easier if they listen to the podcast.
yes,
And with that, I think it's a good place to leave it.
beautiful. Thank you, Liz. Good work.
And I thank you so much for all your gorgeous work.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to seeing everything else.
Yeah. Well, you know, creating, that's what I love to do, creating and telling stories and capturing it in words and photos. So here
wonderful.
we go. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank
that was
you,
really
Fiona.
fun.